I have all my lights on. What's up, everybody? It is Manifesting Monday. It's Practical Magic. It's me, Donna Vee. I know you guys are used to seeing me, Camp Quarantine, bringing you entertainment and chaos and craziness, but we are trying to control the chaos and comfort the craziness. I am here with professional life coach Kim Mazzella. Tracy Locke is having technical difficulties. We might get her back in. We don't know. But Kim, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I love being here on my
panel.
This is mine. Now I'm a part of it. I was so looking forward today, all day, to talk about this topic, because this is like straight up manifesting 101. Let's make it happen. Let's figure out how come you don't have what you want when you right this second.
Well, you know what, Kim? I would love to know why I don't have exactly what I want right this second. That would be amazing. I'm going to bring us closer in view right now. Why not, Kim? Good
Why
evening,
not?
Frank Simon. Let's say hello to whoever comes on. I'm waiting to see if maybe Tracy will be here. My Aunt Cecilia is here. Welcome from Queens. So excited to see everybody. And so today we are talking about alignment.
Well, we're talking about the three different parts of the law of attraction, right? We're talking about the three parts. So the law of attraction, we think of it just the law of attraction, like attracts like, but it was that easy. First place, one of the things you said, why don't I have what I want right now? If we got what we wanted in the second we wanted it all the time, life would A, be kind of boring, and B, we might make a lot of mistakes, right? Like, because and I always go back to my divorce. And if the thoughts in my head came true when I had them, when I wanted them, it would have been really, really bad. And for my kids.
Exactly.
And now years later, I don't want those things anymore. So thankfully we change our mind and the universe gives us opportunity to clarify. But there's more than just like attracting like. That's the first part of the law of attraction. There's two other really important parts. And I don't know if there are like two other parts. There's like 5 steps, 2 parts. I don't know. The 3 parts. Everybody does numbers and stuff. I hope Tracy makes it back on.
I see her face, but she's frozen. So I don't want you to get distracted. She really is there. But when you put her up, it's like dark. And I see her. Thank you very much, Sherry, for you. She said my hair looks awesome. It's because I washed it. Let's just say this and we'll clear some energy. And we're going to hope that she really does get on. But we're going to focus because focusing is huge. And it's actually part of why a lot of people don't get what they want, because right or wrong, they're not focusing. I know I have that issue a little bit right there. But for those people that are tuning in, like Frank Simon, my aunt, and Sherry, who are very excited to hear about this, we are experiencing technical difficulties right now with Tracy. And I don't want to keep distracting us by bringing her in. So if I see her in and I see her moving in my little studio, I promise you I'll try to bring her in. But right now, Kim Mazzella, take it away.
Okay, so I could talk about this the whole hour. It might get boring though. So
I want you to know the basics to those that don't understand the basics.
So the basics of the law of attraction, before you even think about the law of attraction, is the most important thing that you can do in your life is consider what you think about. Really, it's interesting because I was talking to a client just the other day, and she said to me something that was so shocking to me, because I guess I don't think about this, but she goes, most of my life, I never really thought about what I think about. Now, I'm like, wow. But most of us don't have to think about what we think about if our lives are going swimmingly, if we feel like we're getting what we want all the time, if everything is working out, we don't really have to think about what we think about. And we don't have to think about what we think about all day long. We only have to think about what we think about when we're not getting what we want, and when we're unhappy. Right. So
those are be considered, that's deliberate creation, deliberate thought.
Right.
Like going to the food store with an actual list as opposed to just being hungry. 2 different things.
Right. And you got to show up to life with your list. And most of us have gotten out of the habit of believing that we deserve what we want because we feel like that's selfish, or we feel like we're asking for too much, or who am I to ask for this? And the world has told us, oh, who are you? You got to work really hard for it. And that doesn't mean that you don't have to show up to life, right? You do have to show up to life. But we've been given a lot of mixed messages about what we want and if it's okay to want. I can't tell you how many. I had another thing with a client the other day where she was spending like an hour telling me what she didn't want. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want this. I'm like, great. What do you want? And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, what do you want? And she goes, I don't know. I just know what I don't want. I'm like, well,
Well, that's not good.
yeah. I mean, it's great to know what you don't want, but if you don't come up with I used to work in this company, and every time you wanted something, you had to put a requisition in, right? So you'd put a requisition order in, and then it would go up the chain of command, and they decide, like, if you were asking for, like, I don't know, $70,000 worth of stuff, it might have gotten no, but most things are like pens, right? So you put your requisition in, and it goes through the chain of command, and then the pens arrive on your desk. And that's kind of what we have to do when we want anything. We can't just assume it's going to come. And a lot of what we do is put requisitions in for things that we didn't even realize we wrote it out, right?
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so when we're sitting complaining and annoyed and looking at all the things we don't like in our life and going, oh, I hate this and I don't like this, and can you believe they say that? We're actually putting a requisition form in for those things, right?
Yeah.
So, the first rule is like attracts like.
Like attracts like. So simplify that. And I know that sounds crazy. I'm going to play the part of Donna and of Tracy tonight right now, because I just sent Tracy a message. I said, please FaceTime us, or, but like attracts like is like saying what?
Well, I mean, you would have come up with a really good probably analogy, and I'll make you do it after. But what that means is birds of a feather flock together.
Yep.
So your ideas, what you're thinking about, when in terms of thought, like attracts life, means that if you are having a thought and it creates a feeling, your next thought is going to match that feeling.
Correct.
Right? So your thoughts and your feelings are always going to continue to match, and they're always going to continue to gain momentum because of the law of attraction, like attracts life. And the only way that you're going to feel better is to think a better thought. Right. So we think it's this great big thing we have to do, where you have to go sit in like some like magic castle at a mountain, and with our fingers like this, and, oh, bring it to me. No, we just got to think about what we want and get excited that it's coming. That
Exactly.
is liking, attracting a like. So, what's your fabulous analogy on like attraction?
Well, you're so sweet. Well, my fabulous analogy is, so law of attraction, like I already said, going to the food store with a list rather than just going in hungry. Because when you do that, that's not deliberate creation. That means you're going to go in and you're going to grab for things that maybe you wouldn't normally grab for. You might not like it. Then you're wasting your energy, you're wasting your time, and you're wasting what you're manifesting.
Right.
So if people would only consider manifesting as a form of currency, which I feel it truly is.
Oh, I love that idea.
Maybe they would actually be a little bit more careful with it, a little bit more cautious with it, and more deliberate with it. But because they feel that it's just this whimsical freeness, which there is a whimsical freeness to it, but it comes with you have to pay a price for it. If you could look at it like there is a connection to a form of currency, you might be more cautious in how you spend it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to actually steal that for my next book. Thank you.
Yeah. You go down the shore and you're playing skee-ball, right? You're getting the tickets, and the tickets are great, but you never went over to see if there's anything at all where the prizes are that you even want to redeem it in for.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Especially at those arcades.
Right. It's kind of like sometimes you just want to live with joy because you will attract certain things, but unless you're deliberate, you're not going to just go to any old place and play any old skee ball, because there might not be anything you want with the prizes.
Right.
You have to know what you really are putting out there, the energy.
Right. And so there's a problem in the law of attraction is a lot of the time we have a conflicting thought or a conflicting belief. So we say, I want $1 million, but you feel like people who have $1 million, or you've been complaining about rich people your whole life. Like, who do they think they are? They're so entitled. And you spend your whole time complaining about rich people, but you want $1 million. Well, you're not really set up to become a millionaire, right? Right? I mean, when you start to align yourself with them and say, hey, what do rich people think? Well, how can I think like that? How can I be like that? If you think that rich people are greedy or money hungry or not generous or full of themselves, you are no way lined up. So and one of the things in my program that I do is that we look at what are the beliefs that you hold that are out of alignment with the law of attraction. And the cool thing is that you don't have to go and get hypnotized to find out what you believe, right?
Nope.
You just answer some simple questions. I mean, they're questions I designed. They're really easy. And you can be like, oh, that means in order to believe this, in order to feel like this, I have to believe this. And so this stuff is like easy, but it requires effort and work and your version of focus.
But it's easy because you've been practicing it, right? So for me, when I see somebody powerlifting, I'm like, oh my God, that looks insane. But you have to start with the 5-pound weight, the 10-pound weight, and
Right.
you got to continue to build up your resistance.
Right.
Or not your resistance in this case, your strength. But yeah, you want to take the path of least resistance with what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
You want to build up resistance.
Well, one of the things I see in meditation is when I first started meditating, I can meditate for like 2 minutes. Like I have my clients meditate for 2 minutes, and I'm like, if you can meditate and sit there and think about a candle, flickering for 2 minutes, you're golden, because that's focusing. And that's what meditating does. It teaches you how to focus. Meditating works so well with the law of attraction, because the law of attraction is focusing. And what meditating is a way to practice how to focus your mind. Your mind is going to go off and be like, oh, look at the birds. And then you're going to bring it back. And then, oh, look at that. Or, oh, that bill I got to pay. Bring it back. Bring it back. And to the point where it stays. And I always find like it takes like 10 minutes of solidly bringing it back before I could get it to stay in that space. And that's not that easy.
No, I think that a lot of times meditation can be intimidating to people because, again, like you said before, when you hear the word meditation or when you talk about the act of meditation, people think that you have to go to some like mountain or to some golden covered. When little do you know that you're meditating more often than you realize. Like I know for me, when I'm doing something that's mundane or like repetitive, like foiling hair, I am completely in a space of meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really magical.
Because you do it so often, you're used to it. It's just a thing that you could do, and you can just kind of zone out, and your vibration raises up. So it's really good. Another thing about the law of attraction is if you think about like where you are right now, like your homeostasis, I got to think of a better word, like your regular being, right? Most of us have like the state of our regular emotional state, right? We're content, right? So
your play clothes.
Yeah. So when you're content, you don't really have to think about what you're thinking about. I say it all the time. Like, I'm not sitting around going, what am I thinking about when I'm like, doing it. When I'm feeling bad, that's when I have to think about what I'm thinking about. Tomorrow's the first day of my son's senior year, first day of my daughter's junior year. It's like and I was feeling, really stressed out, remote learning and all this stuff. And I managed to get through it like calm and happy and focusing, because I kept thinking, oh, let me find a better feeling thought.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that that's very important to talk about, though. I think a lot of people get lost in the fact that they forget. It's the same thing as like the sunny day, rainy day, sunny day, rainy day. You could have 4 days of beautiful sunshine, 75, 80 degrees days. And then the day that's raining, everybody walks around like, oh, I hate rain. And I'm just like, dude, but we just had 4 really beautiful days. Well, why are you focused? It's so easy to focus on that. Waking up, having a great night's sleep, getting up and seeing the sunshine, stubbing your toe, you could totally let it wreck your day.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to reel it back in. And I think that the law of attraction, when you let that stub toe wreck your day, a lot of people don't realize they go down into this like rabbit hole of negativity. But if you could just latch on to the feeling that you had right before the stub toe, you could change your entire day.
Right. And it's not that impossible to do. I think the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Like I used to let things ruin my day for hours and hours and hours. And then it got smaller and smaller and smaller, where, like as you get older, you're like, is that worth my good spirit? Is that stub toe worth my good spirit? And sometimes it is, but for the most part, if I understand that my thoughts are currency, I'm not too willing, right?
You just read my mind. I was just going to say, that's really wild, because if it goes back to that thought about being currency, it's kind of like when you go to the store and you're like, are those jeans really worth $300?
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah. I mean, unless you have 3 billion in the bank, then maybe you don't notice that, right? Maybe we'll get there.
No, but not even that. It's just like sometimes you think to yourself, what part of your soul, what part of your being, what part of your person are you willing to trade for doing something? Right?
Oh, yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, how much am I spending
energy?
prostitute energy. So it's like when I know you said that the other day when we were talking, I think before we actually, it was when it was the three of us talking, Tracy, myself, when we were kind of thinking about what we were going to talk about, and you brought up prostitute energy, and I thought to myself, you know, if anybody were to just tune in and hear that, manifesting, yes, it's code word for man. Can you explain to everyone in better ways than I could ever what you're talking about with the different energies? What
Okay.
are the archetypes are there?
Okay, so we all come here to work through different archetypes. We've all come here, and if you think it's not necessarily lessons, it's what we want to learn. It's what we want to kind of experience while we're here, right? So I know one of the things, like I've done, one of my things is a healer, right? So I've come to work through the theme of being a healer in this life. And I'm also a student. I'm always learning new things, always reading books. I'm always learning. So another thing that I've come to be is a student, right? And a teacher, right? So healer, teacher, student. But all of us have come to work through 4 types of energy, and we all must. And now understand these archetypes, they're called archetypes. They're neutral, meaning they're not good or bad. They have positive sides and negative sides. So we've all come to work through the archetype of the child. So, and there's different types of children, right? So there's like the wounded child, there's all different kinds of that type. And so when we all have that child in us, and there's times where we really need to have that child come up, like in your, yeah.
You even like the inner child. You're saying the child energy. You don't just grow out of it. It's something that's within you, and that's why you can work on it even into adulthood.
Right. And it's very important to work through the child and also have fun with the child, because the child in us is where the play is, right? I mean, the second chakra, child, play. Play is important. And I always say this, if you understood the chakra system and along with this, the way our energy is built on each other, that tells us what's the most important. The first thing that you need is stability, right? You need stability. You can't like leave the house if you can't eat. You can't. The second thing you need is an ability to play and feel things. That's really that important. That when we come through this journey, we think of it as idle time, but that idle time is so important for the soul's journey. Yeah, so important. We need, or why live, right? Right, right. Why live? Why not? And so, anyway, going back to the archetypes, there's the child, there's a saboteur, and if it makes you feel any better, we all sabotage ourselves. We do. We do. We go on a diet, and then we're like, the brownies are calling us all day long. We go on a diet, and we're like, oh, ice cream. I really want ice cream. I didn't want it before I went on the diet, but now all of a sudden I need to have ice cream. Or we want to save money for a vacation, and we find ourselves blowing it on something silly, like a shirt or something like that. So sabotage is so pervasive in the human experience. It's considered an archetype that we all need to work through. Another thing that we all need to work through is the archetype of a victim, and it's so loud in today's energy. You know, when you feel like a victim, you are never going you're never going to step into your power. So we all have to work into that through that place where we feel victimized in all different ways, to find your power to become the victor, right? So through the victim, I mean, we all have been victimized in this life. I mean, I don't think it's really hard to get through life, but when you become unvictimizable, is that a word?
Yes.
Right? Because no one can steal your power anymore. And then the last one is the prostitute. And so and I'm not talking, this isn't about, pay for sex.
Yes, no.
But so for some people it is, but it's what do you value and where are you willing to trade something for your self-value, right? So, the damsel in distress. This is a person who could be strong, but wants the white knight to come in and swoop her down. Like the, sugardaddy.com. Those, I want a man to take care of me because I don't want to stand not me. I don't even want to say that. But yeah. Although, I mean, every once in a while I like a meal.
I love how both of us go right to the meal. I'm thinking, and I'm like, well, I don't cook, but and you're maybe a meal. I'm like, this for the pool, please.
Please, sir.
I'll play my shoulder. No, it's not how it works, but yeah.
Yeah. So, in being Tracy, like if you understand that all these four things we're all working through. And so when we're going to manifest, it's not like we come through this life and they're like, here's a smorgasbord of things. And what would you like today? No, it doesn't go like that. You come in, you've got parent drama, you've got family drama, you've got, I don't know, like the way you feel about your body drama, you've got, comparison drama. There's drama everywhere, right?
Anywhere.
Like, so competition energy, we have so much to work through before we can even get to the point where we're like, hey, I want to create something great, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're here and you're listening to this is about like, it's time now to create something great. And I want everybody to know that we can create something great. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter that everybody's so divisive. And it doesn't matter if you like Biden or you like Trump. None of these things matter. What matters is what you want right now. And if that's going to bring joy to the world, it is so important because the world needs you to be joyful, right? Like
I
it's
1,000% agree. I 1,000% agree. And I do feel that one of the things is people need, like, I know for me, I shouldn't say what people need. I need, and what I've done for myself to protect myself against everything that goes on is I disconnect from certain things that do not serve me good. So for instance, like, I mean, so I don't do like hard drugs, right? Just using that as something.
right.
But some people, that is their device.
Yeah.
To me, and that is what will bring them down the rabbit hole. For me, it's the news, because I can definitely attach myself to something fearful. And I would then all of a sudden let that worm into my brain and I'd think about what's going on. Like, I need to keep my little bubble like here. And I had a conversation with a client recently, and we were discussing the fact that, and with all due respect, if this person's watching, I'm not going to say your name, but if you recognize a story or something similar, please know that I'm just sharing this. I think it's an important lesson. But it was like, she came in and her energy, you could tell that she just wanted to be heard. She wanted to speak to somebody and just be heard, right? And that's very often what happens in the salon therapy session. You being a life coach, people just want to be heard because people don't feel like they are being listened to. Yeah. And right now, especially what I feel is that, I mean, there's so many different opinions and everybody wants to put theirs out there because they want it. It's almost like people want to be divided. Have you noticed that?
Well, I mean, I believe in the ego mind, and I believe that there is part of us that truly believes that we're not safe and we're victimized, and all of us, every single person. And I do feel like we're screaming because we don't feel like we're heard. Exactly. And I feel like we're screaming, we're protesting, we're doing all different things, and people are becoming so angry. But what that has made me want to do, so what I do instead, because I mean, whatever you have to say, whatever you have to say is important to be heard, right?
Right.
And I think that the light workers are going to be the most important players going forward because A, politics is not in the vortex, right? And B, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how we treat each other. And I think that everybody can do their part by listening, right? I know I've been very lucky. I feel like the last 4 years of politics have made me grow so much as a human being. And I agree with you. I was a political science major in college. I mean, I was so involved in politics. And one of the things I found is I skim the news. I just want to know the basic, most important headlines. And it doesn't, how is it helpful to the world, my being upset about what's going on? How is it? It is actually creating more upset in the world, right? Because I do believe that thoughts increase when you share them, and your energy is attractive. And so if I'm putting out in the world that I'm upset about what's going on, if I'm putting out in the world that I have no faith that the world can heal,
right,
then we are all doomed, right? We all need to believe that we could get through this divisiveness. We need to believe that this is a platform for an even better time.
Yeah.
And that's why you kind of come and listen to these shows and be reminded, and we talk to each other about it, because there's such a big world out there with so much joy in it. And why are we going to focus on the things that we do? We have so many more similarities than differences.
Yeah.
We should all scream from the mountaintops about our similarities.
I totally. I
Right?
I read a book to the kids the other day, and it was all about like the fact that we're all alike and that our hearts all beat, and it was like really super sweet. I don't know where I put that book. It's in this room somewhere, but I will tell you, it was pretty amazing because I was glad to see that in a book for kids it was being discussed, because I will tell you that's one thing we have to teach the younger generation, because the younger generation that doesn't learn kindness and to co-create and to appreciate and be and live in, you know, just a place of appreciation, unfortunately it's like everybody's learning it later in life. And I don't know, I think we could just generate the garden a little bit younger and we could get that crop growing. We have a
But
better opportunity for it to breed, you know.
they're doing some more things in schools, like more meditation and things like that. Like there is in schools, they're starting to implement those things. There's called social emotional learning, and they're starting to bring it. It's like a topic now in
That's
schools,
great.
and so they're starting to talk about that more and more. I know. So it's definitely something that I think that is really important, and I think that getting back to the law of attraction, there's two parts that are really important. And so we know that like attracts like, but it's really important to understand that the second part of the law of attraction is called the science of deliberate creation. And what that means is, okay, once you know like attracts like, then you now have a responsibility, right?
Yes.
Right? Well, you really have a responsibility, and it's to deliberately create what you want, to make a decision about what you want, to focus on it, to get excited about it, to know it's coming, to figure out what your conflicts are, to overcome them, and to just focus, and think, and then go on your merry way and have fun, right?
Yeah.
That's that. And then the most important part, and where we really get tripped up and where we really struggle in the law of attraction, is the art of allowing.
Yes.
You know the art of allowing. Well, I want to do this, you want to do that. How can I manifest if you don't want to do what I want to do, especially what I want to manifest is with you, right?
Are you speaking so that we can totally keep everybody that doesn't know everything we're speaking about in check? Are you saying as a co-creator, meaning when you want to manifest something and
Hmm.
you're in a couple, is that what you're
Right.
talking about?
Hmm.
Okay, because not
Hmm.
everybody here is in a couple, but I'm just saying, like, for those that are in, if you're saying, well, I want to go to Tahiti, and your husband is saying, I want to go to the mountains, you're talking about that kind of co-creating.
Well, not only that, you co-create with everybody. You co-create with the cashier when you pay, right? Like to
Yeah.
make it a nice experience. What I'm really thinking about is we're thinking we need this world, the kids, to be kinder,
Yes.
and and we got to assume that our thoughts are strong enough that we're going to create an environment where each one of us is going to bump into an opportunity to create that, right? So we create it by like A Course in Miracles says that if you want peace, teach peace to learn it. And what it really means is if you want peace, demonstrate peace in all that you do. And so I think it's more like that. It's about not worrying
Yeah.
so much. It's not about compromising, actually.
I was just going to say, I would like you to speak to that.
Okay, compromise happens in relationship, and it's not a bad thing. But it's not about sacrificing. Let's say that it's about recognizing that the universe is bringing you what you want all the time. The universe is going to bring you what you want. And when you're co-creating with somebody else, yes, sometimes you do have to maybe make decisions, but you can find a way where it would be a win-win for both, right? And it is hard to co-create with somebody else, right? It is. I mean, that's why like 50% of relationships die, like with well, more than 50%, but 50% of marriages.
The power couples co-create.
Yeah, right. And so I understand the idea of compromise, but we don't want to think about it in terms of sacrifice. We want to think about it in terms of finding a solution that feels winnable to everybody, and to trust that if you're the right co-creator for me that it's going to work out in the way that's best. So it could be like, maybe we'll go to Tahiti this year and then, I don't know, the mountains next year. Or like, do you know what I mean? Like, so that would be a compromise. Okay, I'll put it off a year. But we're not here to sacrifice. And I think that's really hard to hear because it feels like a lot of life is a sacrifice, and we're really trained really well in sacrifice. And if you read A Course in Miracles, like every other page says, you're not meant to sacrifice anything. What you're meant to do is stand in your power and trust that the universe is going to bring it to you in perfect time. What we are meant to do is use that time to figure out a way to still stay peaceful in it, and just trust that sometimes the universe needs some time to bring it to you. You know?
Yeah. And you might not like the way that the universe brings it to you, even because you might be sloppy in what you're manifesting,
right?
How you're asking for it. And a lot of times you still get what you want, but it maybe it's like when your GPS like is swirling, whirling, it takes you the longest way, or you know what? It actually gives you the opportunity to do it with tolls, without tolls, you know, highways or no highways. You know, you give yourself the same opportunities. And when you manifest things, and how much opposition or how much resistance you give yourself.
Well, I have this great thing in manifesting that happened to me when I was young. I used to write in a journal, and I would write. And when I was 16, I was in a relationship with someone who was very, very possessive. And I stayed in that relationship on and off until I was 23, until I finally had like the courage to get out of it. At 16 years old, I wrote in my journal, all I want is to be single and living in an apartment all by myself, and pay for my own way, and everything. I take care of everything all by myself, and be able to decorate it how I want, and all these different things, and just be able to have it my way. When I
Right.
was 25, it was probably the worst year of my life. And I talk about this a lot. So people who coach with me know that 25 is like a tough number for me. So it was a really hard year for me. And I read in my own old journal, and I was living alone, and I was super lonely, like
Right.
really lonely. I had this job that was really hard, and I felt like everything felt hard. I felt like I was always, racing to pay my bills
Right.
and taking care. And then I read in my journal, and I'm like, oh my God, I asked for this. Right?
Yeah.
Right. I did. I asked for it. So be careful with what you ask for, because you
Listen,
just might.
I can tell you right now, I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week with my business. And as much as like I try not to, talk about so many things, but I will say, like, I probably asked for this. I know we didn't talk about that part on,
Yeah.
the live part, but where I'm at this like ground zero area where it is back to basics. I mean, I'm sure I did manifest it for whatever reason. Be it that I wanted to have more time to do other things, be it that like maybe I just didn't feel that I had the right energy to be a leader or a boss. I don't know. But I mean, as far as I do know, I do believe, like, I'm not sitting here going, oh, woe is me, look what happened. I'm going, yeah, well, this happened. And I feel like I know I had something to do with it. Nothing that happens to us isn't what we asked for.
But here's the thing. Let's honor that some things feel like a brick to the stomach. I
Oh, yeah.
mean, like, let's honor that just because we are creators doesn't mean that we're always aware and always paying attention all the time to what we're creating. And sometimes we get those things where like we aren't listening, kind of hear it. But there's part of us that just doesn't believe that certain things can happen. Right. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't believe that certain things can happen because we feel there's part of us that always feels like, well, I'm creating, right? I'm creating. And sometimes there's a bigger picture we're creating, and we're only seeing like this much of it. And so we're not realizing that we're creating in this much bigger frame. Does this make sense? I don't know if
Yeah, it makes sense.
and so you are creating, and there's things that like you just can't believe could happen, like when someone dies like young. You just don't see that coming, right?
Right.
Because life isn't going to let you see too far down the road. We just don't get to see it because at first place, why do it? Right? Like if you could see all the way down the road, You might not want to walk down that road. You may not want to.
Exactly.
And what if going down that road is the best thing for you, right? So life isn't going to always be like, oh yeah, let me let you see everything that happens. And sometimes crap happens that really hurts. No matter how much you know about manifesting, I tell you, there's been times in my life where people are like, oh, is that when you just started learning about A Course in Miracles? I'm like, no, that was like 4 years ago. Like,
Well, I think that everybody thinks because you're a life coach and you know
yeah.
everything that everything's got to be perfect for you.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, I'm a human going through this experience, learning. And now I am getting better at it. I do think that my response time is a lot better at certain things. And I definitely don't create scorched earth anymore. Like when I would, like I call it scorched earth when you react. So someone says something to you and you just say the first meanest thing that you comes to your mind, and
I don't know what
you
you're talking about.
go for the jugular, and you want, and I call that leaving scorched earth, because like when like Daenerys,
Oh yeah, it's not to go back. It's just like you wrecked it.
you wrecked it, and I don't really leave scorched earth too much.
Is there a bug right there? Is there a bug?
Yes, it's driving me nuts.
I
It's like
see
a
it.
fruit
I'm like
fly.
watching your face, and like you're like,
I'm like, I'm gonna get you.
I know. Oh God. Let's see what some of the comments are. Sometimes we ask for what sounds good to us at the time without considering how it will be when we are actually going to be living it. That's a
Amen.
whole different thing. Amen is right.
Right. So that's what happened to me, right? I thought it would be so cool to be this young woman living in an apartment, and I felt lonely. Like that's how I felt. I actually worked through it, and it was a very spiritual growth time in my life. And towards the end of it, when it was ending, I was getting married, and I was like dreading like leaving my I lived alone for 5 years. It was awesome. So
Well, and then Chris Casey says either energy or exhaustion. Now that was to an earlier statement that we were talking about, but I think that that's what a lot of people right now are experiencing. Do you feel that too, Kim? Energetically?
I feel like people are flipping done with what's going on. Like people are done and frustrated, and so here's the thing: when the lesson's not over, that you still got to do the work. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, when the lesson's not over, you still got to do the work, and we're all done, right? I get it, because I'm like, oh my gosh, we still can't eat in restaurants. Like, we still got to wear masks, but this is just where we're at. I think we're done because we can't socially get together with people. I think we're done because life's changed so much, so dramatically. And for the first couple of months, we were like, wrote it out. We were like, yay, we'll band together. We'll be strong. And now we're kind of getting like, wait, financially, we're getting struck. Socially, we're getting struck. And so I say, this is the time of Brit development. This is when we really got to dig down and decide who we are and stay true to that and not give up on ourselves. This is why you listen to podcasts or videos like these. This is why you come and you read A Course in Miracles every day and meditate every day, because life is saying, develop some grit, people, learn how to love each other, right? And focus.
Well, I agree with Dave. He says it's been hard, and it has been tremendously hard, especially because in this specific time, I think that, again, if you are not aware of being a light worker, if you are not aware of manifestation, if you are not aware of the fact that you can have control in everything in your life, I mean, I know that it's not like, it sounds silly to some people, but you can control your thoughts, you can control your through meditation, you can really change a lot of stuff. And I know that to some people that sounds very hocus pocus, and I don't, I'm not trying to make everything sound easy peasy, because it's not easy in any stretch of the imagination. But I just want to say this really quick. That's another thing. Step away from the computer. I know this is positive, but be able to discern what's positive and negative. All food is not healthy. Some food is junk food. Some news is junk food. Some of the stuff that you see on TV. You have to be careful for what your body can actually absorb. If you're lactose intolerant, not to eat ice cream at 8:00 at night. Like, it's like, don't watch the news before you go to bed. Like, to me, it blows my mind how many people talk about that when they could really bring themselves to a peaceful place as easy as they can, a not so peaceful place.
Right. And one of the things that I see all the time is that I think that we just aren't used to training ourselves. It always blows me away that people don't know about this. Like, I'm like, there's so many people that don't know about this. And I'm like, but if you can understand that, if you most people don't believe our thoughts are attractive, but you can prove it to yourself. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
read these squares, right? Like you can prove it to yourself. You can prove that thoughts are attractive. Go out and sit in a place where people are walking by and send each one of them in your head something awesome that you want for like 2 hours. Force yourself to sit there and think about cool things you could give them. Like you could be like, I hope you get a motorboat. And I like, like it'd be like, Oprah, you get a car and you get a car. But like, like I start like in your head. Thank you, universe. Send that guy awesome sex. Thank you, universe. Send that guy $10 that he finds in his pocket. Think of funny, fun things that you could send out to the universe. I bet you if you did that for 2 hours, you would leave feeling great. You'd leave feeling, you wouldn't have any choice because it's fun to in your head give people things, and
It's like you're giving them gifts, and it is true when you put the energy out, you also receive it. It's very
right.
true. I think it's a fun experiment to also say, oh my gosh, a red car is going to go by. And it
Yeah.
always does, but people don't believe it. But I love when I do it and somebody will witness it. Like I'm doing someone's hair, I have them facing out the window, and I'll say, wouldn't it be cool to see a red car go by? And like the second car that goes by is red, and they're like, you have such cool things that you do. I'm like, you could do it too. I
Yeah.
don't understand like why that you don't know that, but I don't know. A couple different things. It's different to everyone. For everyone that what works for our friend may not work the same for us. We have to find our own way. Yes.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, I would
Yeah.
love you to respond to that.
So that is so true because in my business, in my everyday world, I give people commitments every day. So when you take a course with me, every week you're going to have commitments, and some of the commitments are writing commitments, and some of the commitments are visual commitments. Some of the commitments are action commitments where you go and like bless people. And some people work really well in one genre and not the other. Like for me, all the writing stuff, that's easy. I can do it. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm making something happen. Some people hate writing and won't do it, or if they do it, it doesn't feel natural to them. So I think that you find the way that works best for you, and then you stay in those little patterns and do them. But the one thing I always say everybody should do every morning is 3 good feeling thoughts before you get out of bed. It's so simple to do. It's just easy, and it starts your day good. Like it just starts your day making a decision that I'm going to feel good no matter what.
It is very true. I do really feel that it is something that people should at least try. Like you say,
Right.
do it, put it in practice for a week. Like some people are not spiritually connected because they're not as aware of it. Kind of like I don't like going to the gym, but people that love to work out will say to me, but go for a week and you'll probably fall back in love with it. And I resist to that. So I can understand how
Right.
some people can resist to this. I do.
Right.
For me, this comes more natural than anything athletic ever did. We have Dave says, I love listening to Native American Indian music during meditation. That's interesting. And doing kind gestures for neighbors.
That's so awesome. Good for you, Dave. And I listen to the Tibetan music, but I never really listened to Native American music, so I'm gonna give it a shot tonight.
I think music is so important.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like the older music, the older tones, like, so in my meditation, I do something called toning, which is using sounds. I actually, it's in my 5th class. So I'll show you. I literally make people do something called toning where you go like lam, ram, bum, and you feel yourself vibrating to that different chakra. I know it sounds so strange, but it's like you feel yourself opening up. And I think that music really opens you up, right? Like it makes it, you're laughing. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because somebody just wrote to me, Olivia Newton-John, love your hair. Because I grew my hair out today and it's driving me crazy.
But you always love to play with your hair.
I do. The thing is like I feel like I'll go to this. This will be better. This is more like Go ahead.
No, I'm good. So
go ahead with your music. I want to hear it because somebody else just said highly recommend Native American music.
Okay, well, I guess I gotta go look it up. Anybody, did they have any specifics that we should offer or try? Ooh, is it just on YouTube?
Anything specific that you guys put in when you are looking at your Native American?
Writing this down.
I know. Well, I like that, and I like and I also like from India music, Indian.
Indian?
Yeah.
Like the sitar, is that what that is? Yeah.
I do. Now I look like Cyndi Lauper. Oh, Leo Rojas. Rojas.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I like the word Leo. Leo Rojas. I'm going to check it out too.
I'm gonna check it out.
Tracy is.
Did she respond right to us? Yeah. Oh,
Oh, Connie Bailey Blake is on.
Connie! Hi!
I miss you.
Oh, we love
I
you
look great in
too.
the picture.
I love your pool. We have to come visit it at some point.
We've been saying that for 17 years. 17 years.
Well, my kids are graduating in 2 years. I'll have plenty of time.
I swear, yeah, I know. I know, Tony Robbins, believe it or not, when I went to go see him years ago, I'm going to look to see if I can find the playlist, but he has a playlist and it's Anthony Robbins and there's a musical part and it's got some amazing music and I could send it to you, Kim, and I could post it in the comments, but there's like some amazing music about the ocean. I don't even know the name of it.
Sometimes I'll put that Tibetan music on when I'm in the car going like somewhere like that I'm nervous about or somewhere like it just will kind of calm me down, like when I'm going just to, we're used to listening to news or to, I'm on such a kick to get everybody to stop, read the news, read like 4 articles, read the top 4 stories. If you get mad at the news, like if you find yourself getting upset, if you find yourself getting, like if you can handle what's going on in the world without feeling impacted or, oh, I'm reading this. Hold on. Should I get the opposite? Huh. I wonder if your energy, what?
I love the way you went, huh?
Well, I just was wondering, like, Frank's energies. I'd love to connect to his energy field just to feel if it's faster or not. Like, so I do think that energetically speaking, some of us move a lot faster than others. Like you have very quick moving energy, and Tracy's is slower. This is not a judgment. It's just like, and it doesn't mean you're not grounded or anything. Your natural energy is just sped up.
No, right? I'm all over the place.
Right.
I have felt like a plastic bag, Katy Perry. I mean, like blowing in the wind. I totally know what that feels like. Question: do you like sound machines, the noise cancellation type, or sound music?
Well, actually, the truth of the matter is, for those things, most people use them at night, and I'm deaf. So when I take my hearing aids out, I don't hear anything. So
that's so wild.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I wear hearing aids, and when I pull them out, I don't hear anything. So
you hear nothing at all from now.
No, I hear stuff. What it sounds like is going underwater. So have you ever like spoken to someone and you're underwater and you can hear what they're saying and it's kind of like you got to make it out?
Yes.
And that's if it's you and me in a room and we're right next to each other and you're like 3 feet away from me, I can hear you fine. But if you were to walk across that room, and if there's music playing, then I wouldn't hear you at all.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back on track a little bit, which I love.
Okay, that's a great idea.
I love getting off track, but I like getting back on track. So that would be kind of like alignment. Now,
let's talk about alignment.
Let's talk about alignment. Okay. I was trying to explain to someone earlier, and I said, you have to watch, and Kim can tell it better. But my analogy is, what I'm sure it's very simple. It's nothing profound. But if you get your car aligned, and you have all the wheels going in the same direction, it's a much smoother ride than when you're out of alignment and your front is facing left and your front is going right. If you're completely out of alignment, you're not going anywhere. You're not moving at all. Am I anywhere near right?
That's the best, easiest explanation I've heard in a while. So the way I explain it,
I'm like, do a pull in the check. That must be why my hair looks like this. But go ahead.
So here's what you want, right? Let's say here's what you want, like right in front of my nose, right here. And this is the center of who you are, right? Here's what you want. And there's this part of you that has what you want, right? When you're right here, you're in alignment. What happens is there's that little voice that says you can't get it. There's that little thing that the world says, who do you think you are, that you want it? There's time. Well, I don't have it now. So who do I think I can? And so the farther you get away from from what you want, the more out of alignment with you. When you believe, so alignment is not just believing you deserve it. Alignment is expecting it's coming and feeling like you already have it. Feeling like it's already aligned to you, feeling like it's already part of you. So I like your analogy better, but being in alignment with something means that you assume it's coming to you.
Right. Well,
Right.
to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, that goes back to, we spoke about this a few weeks ago, when you're manifesting something. Like, for instance, you're manifesting a peaceful, restful beach vacation, right? So you might plan it, you might look at brochures, but then when you put it out in the universe, it's like you've talked to it's paid for, it's coming, but it's not there for like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So you want to live in the moment that you're in now and think about how amazing that vacation is going to be. I mean, right or wrong? Like,
So what we tend to do is we tend to think that beach vacation is never going to come. That who am I to want that beach? I can't believe, you know what, the weather's probably going to stuck on that beach vacation anyway. Who, you know what, the plane trip. What if the plane doesn't make? I mean, like, these are the things that we do, right? So our job is just to go, and that's why I say go and have fun, right? Then just
yeah,
go and have fun, and that's really the art of allowing. Is
yeah,
just go and have fun. So when I teach my course, I don't even talk about manifesting until lesson 9, because I teach you how to get rid of all the gunk in your energy field and then how to manage your alignment. And then lesson 9 is the first lesson in manifestation. And everybody's like, yay, we're going to manifest. And I teach grounding and centering. And they're like, what? This
like,
isn't
this is not
manifesting.
fun. We don't know how to get the stuff we want.
Yeah. They're like, wait, I don't want to. I thought we were going to learn manifesting today. And I'm like, we are. We're going to learn how to get grounded and how to be centered.
And you're like, I don't get it. And then you're gonna be like, listen, you said you wanted to go camping, right? Put the tent up first, put the stakes in the ground, have the restful night's sleep. You feel like have the restful night's sleep without putting up the tent and setting it up.
Right.
No?
And it's so after you get grounded and centered, because it's so important, because what happens when we start to want something and get excited about it is we bring our energy out here, right? Like we go
Yes.
like a million miles and I'm like, oh, and you're not, oh, hi, Connie, anytime.
Gunk.
So yeah, gunk. Like out of your system. So anything that's not in alignment with what you're trying to create, right?
Right.
Anything, all the beliefs that don't match up, all the thoughts that you're not good enough, all the things that tell you, the people who say, I remember when I said I was becoming a life coach, and there was someone I was close to who said, why would you want to do that? There's like a million of them. You're never going to make any money doing that.
Oh,
Wrong.
that's absolutely terrible.
Right.
Frank says, if you worry about too many things in life, just watch the movie What About Bob? It puts everything to perspective. I've never seen the movie.
I've never seen it either.
I just want to share it in case you knew what that meant. I have no idea.
Yeah. So what you do when you're we were talking about getting rid of the junk. So then grounding and centering is about becoming present, right? So you get rid of all the stuff. Then you got to really learn how to be present and focus in the present time, because joy can't be found in the future, and joy can't be found in the past. And so in order to manifest anything you want, the most important piece, besides the thinking part, well, it is the thinking part, is to be joyful. And so joy is such an important part of creating. And we think we got to work really hard. And you know what? That doesn't mean we don't show up and book the tickets and, I'm writing every day. I mean, I'm constantly writing, I'm constantly doing stuff, but it's fun. Because I love it, right? I love talking about this stuff. So the first thing you got to learn when you're learning about manifesting is how to really let go and be here and be in joy. Because if it's kind of like I'm going to pull you, like somebody you really like, you're talking to them, right? And you've been like dancing around it a little bit, and you talk, and we haven't set up a date yet, right? And all of a sudden, like in your head, you're married, right? Like your white picket friends, bridal gown, and they haven't even asked you out yet, right? This is what we do. We get so excited. It's like we race ahead 50 miles. Are they gonna love me? Will it be great? Will we make me babies? Like these are the things that we do. And we haven't even had date number 1. I don't think we're gonna make babies anymore because that ship has sailed.
I mean, listen, the plant may be closed for production, but this is there. We're not giving tours. You know what I'm saying?
I love you.
The milk might be powdered, but you know. All right, go ahead.
So what happens? This is so bad.
But it's not. This is the living in joy that we're talking about. See, this is what I think is funny, because this is the stuff I live for. Not that I don't live seriously ever, but I think that it's so funny because weeks and weeks ago when we started this with Tracy, she's like, why does it work for you? We need to talk about why it works for you. Because I will tell you right now, one of the things I know about life, and it took me a long time, therapy and going to you, really. And I told you that. Therapy is definitely my Google Maps, but you are my Google translator. And what does that mean? And this is not just a shameless plug for you. This is where I know the pivotal moment was for me in life. It was like I knew how to play the game. I knew everything, but then all of a sudden somebody's like, you know, you can pay to get some of those secret codes or whatever. That analogy from the kids. But it's like I could find out different ways to make this work better, faster, more intentional.
Right.
And it's so true. And it's something that it sounds so simple because it is. But people, if it's not sounding complicated, people don't believe it.
Right. Well, it's the only thing that's complicated about it is us.
Yeah.
We complicate it. We make it hard because we don't believe in the allowing piece. We really just make it difficult, right? So what? What is making you laugh?
I'm just reading at people's things. I love it. Just because you can't make babies anymore doesn't mean that you're not able to practice. That's exactly what I said before.
That's why we've been laughing.
This all came so in handy when Charlie and I were on a cruise with 4,000 pissed off people. Our destinations were changed because of storms. We had a blast. Karaoke bar, reading on the deck, and staying away from the angry people. And that is
good for you. That's what we need to do. All of us, every one of us. Good for you. I'm so happy to hear it.
Find your joy. In like the littlest things. I talk about it all the time. Be a silver lining hunter. Do not look for the dark in the clouds. If you sit there and you can find the silver lining, it might be small. It could just be this 8 o'clock show that we're doing right now. Could be the silver lining. Maybe you had a crappy day and just something we said like struck a nerve and it made you laugh or made you realize something. But I mean, you got to find the silver lining. I really do believe that.
Right. Your life is supposed to be joyful, and none of it. I mean, you can find 1,000 people out there that'll say, because I knew a woman who said it's not supposed to be joyful. It's supposed to be good works. No, I don't think so. It's supposed to be joyful.
You gotta see. It takes me like 3 days to mow the backyard, but like I got it done actually because my daughter's boyfriend. But my point of saying that is, I do take time to stop and smell the flowers.
Yeah.
Smell them, trim them. Like I mean, like
yeah.
I have taken that away from this pandemic and this quarantine. This weekend, it's really strange because I know quarantine has not been fun for everyone. And I'm not saying that it was fun for me, but I definitely used my time in lockdown wisely. Like I gotta say, if I ever spent time in jail, I'd come out with a major educational achievement. Like I would be built and I would be like learned, because I feel like you could take any situation, even if it's lockdown, and you could do something positive with it. And one of the things is doing these things. If it wasn't for the lockdown, would you and I, Kim Mazzella, and Tracy, who is on her own retreat right now, would we have been making time for this?
No. And I got to tell you, it's changed my whole practice. I don't really ever see people. It's all Zoom. It's made such a difference. Like my women's groups are one-on-one it's really made a huge difference. And I have more time to talk to people. I have more, I don't know. I feel like this pandemic has been tough, but I don't know. I'm so trained in looking for silver linings. I felt like it was one in the beginning. I mean, obviously I don't want people to be sick, but No,
I don't want people to be sick, but people are going to be sick no matter what. Right. Yeah. People are going, like everybody, I'm not making light of it, but everybody, we're all born and we all die. That's what we all have in common. Is
Right.
that we're here and then we're not going to be here. And the thing is whatever you do in the in-between time and what you do with the time that you have and you're gifted, you just got to make the best of it.
And you can use the law of attraction to thank the universe for keeping you safe and healthy. Like I keep saying, use the law of attraction. Keep celebrating your health. Celebrate your health, everybody. If we all celebrate our health, we're deliberately creating it. So.
And you're creating a longer, more healthful life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, Sherry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody that watched.
Thank you to everybody that watched. And you know what time it is.
Ooh, yay.
I love the cards.
Me too.
I love them. So I figure, you know what we could do? I don't know where Tracy is right now. I told her to FaceTime a while ago. But we should do a card for Tracy.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, so I'm going to have you say stop when you want to say stop.
Stop.
You know what's funny? Nature was falling out in my arms, and I don't know where she is right now, but I know she's on some kind of retreat. So I think that's kind of cool.
Okay. There you go.
Ooh.
New
Wait,
love.
wild, that's the top card. And then this soulmate is the bottom card.
Ooh.
Tracy, huh?
Tracy.
Maybe that's for one of our viewers because I don't know if Tracy's boyfriend's really gonna like that read.
I don't know if we're gonna create drama here on Manifest Mondays.
Manifest Monday, yeah. With your life coaches, WWE. No. Glow, wrestling, and manifestation.
Is this for me or you?
This is for you.
Okay. Stop.
Okay. Let's see.
Give me a good one.
Meditation.
Meditation.
Yeah, like so ratchet.
Okay.
Well, I feel like a divine timing's coming soon. Let's see. Ooh, and music. Get that
in. Oh my God. That's so crazy.
That's so cool.
I got it written down. Leo Roja. I'm going to listen to him.
Leo Roja.
Oh, I don't know if I could say it like that.
With the roll the R's. All right.
Okay, Donna, you're up.
This is for me. Oh. I'm so nervous. It's exciting. This is going to decide everything in my life. Your laugh cracks me up. I'm sweating from this. I'm sweating. Okay, are you ready? This is the top card. Guardian Angel.
Ooh, well, it will decide everything in your life.
Guardian Angel card. Okay, and you ready?
Yep.
Healing.
Ooh.
These are good.
These are good. This was a good week.
I know.
This was an awesome show.
I know this was. We're sorry that you're not here, Tracy. I hope
we missed you.
I don't know what's going on. She said in her message that she did a Zoom show earlier today and she didn't have a problem, but we know that Zoom is definitely different than this. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know.
So next week we're talking about the 5 steps of manifesting.
Ooh, next week's the 5 steps?
Yeah, 5 steps of manifesting.
Okay. I'm very excited. So. I am very excited. I'm going to pull a card for everybody. Tell me when to stop. This is for everybody watching. Whatever it is you're thinking of.
Stop.
Okay. Meditation.
See, guys, go meditate.
Go meditate. Let's see what this is. Emerging.
Ooh,
that's right. For those of you that need that, I'm glad you got it. My aunt said this was fabulous. I want to say hello and thank you to everyone that's watching on Facebook, Facebook Live, YouTube, and of course, Periscope. We will be back next Monday at 8 o'clock with another episode where we'll be discussing Kim Mazzella, the 5 steps of manifesting, correct?
Yep.
And we're hoping that we get Tracy Locke back.
We'll be back. We will manifest her back.
Nothing else to do, and you want to, I'll be back on by 9:30. I have a special announcement. I will be on Couch Time with Sean Morton. It's a different show. And oh, my aunt says I was going to ask you to pull a card for the listeners. Manifesting.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome. So, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning. Kim, where can people find your videos?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. Please friend me on Facebook, and then join my group. It's called Supercharge Your Mindset. Supercharge Your Mindset.
Supercharge Your Mindset. Yeah. I know you put videos up every day, and they're incredible. So if you love hearing from Kim, you're going to love her videos.
Thank you
so much. Connie Bailey Blake, we love and miss you too. You look great, Connie. That's a great picture.
Does.
Michael Tierney says, good stuff.
Thanks,
I love
Michael.
That. Thanks, Michael. Have a good night. We got some really good messages. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, everyone.
Namaste.